Hey loves, welcome back to Day Spills Tea. I, of course, am the lovely Day, and I have missed y'all. Life has been lifing, and your girl has not had time to watch none of the shows. So I tried to spend this weekend getting caught up, and I was able to check out Love and Marriage DC. I'm glad I did, and I have a feeling that not a lot of people are enjoying this show so far. I actually am. And so I want to tell you why I'm enjoying this show. But before we get into all that, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Show your girl some love because you already know that that's exactly what I'm here for. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the show so far. And then if you haven't subscribed already, you can go ahead and do that. And you can ring the notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time I post a new video because now I have my life in order. I have scheduled time and I am able to watch the show so we can talk about them because I am so far behind. People are tagging me on my social media, asking my opinion on things, and I'm like, I ain't even seen it, y'all. But I'm getting caught up. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So, what I like about the show so far is that I feel like we are going to see some healthy Black marriages. I don't know. We might, but so far I'm liking what I see with the exception of that very, very weird, scammy vibes that we're getting from Winter and her soon to be ex husband, if they're not already divorced, Kevin. But I'm not going to jump straight into that. So the show starts off, and Monique, my girl Monique, yes, I am one of those people who was Team Monique the whole time she was on Rohop. I don't condone violence, but I do understand it. Okay, we're gonna leave that at that, and we can debate about that later. One day, maybe we'll do a live. But anyways, so I'm so happy that Monique is back in reality TV. She said Carlos King reached out to her. At first, she was like, "Nah," but she decided to go ahead and do the show because she feels like it'll be a good opportunity for her to show people more about her and her family and her actual businesses and all those things, which I think is kind of cool. I would love to see more of this and less of the traditional housewife, basketball wives type TV that we have been getting. Anyways, back to the show. So Monique is doing a pop-up for her Not for Lazy Moms. This is episode 1. She's doing a pop-up for her Not for Lazy Moms podcast and her Mila Eve essential oils. And this is where we get to meet most of the rest of the cast. So first, Ashley arrives. She is married to DJ Quicksilver, but she comes to this event alone. She immediately identifies herself as the world's biggest sweetheart. So I figure she is going to be the source of all the drama. Of course, she claims that she can be a bee if she needs to. But anybody proclaiming to be the world's biggest sweetheart, honey, that disclaimer is there for a reason. So I got my eye on you, and I can't wait to see how much drama she's actually going to bring. But anyways, and then Erana arrives, and she's married to Jamie. I love that Monique was saying that the reason she wanted to be friends with Erana is because she wants to be friends with women who are on her level or beyond her level. I am the same way. Let me drink from your cup. Show me the game. Teach me how you get to be, how you get to be. One day I'm going to tell y'all a story about how I had a friend that was like that. And what I learned was sometimes once you start to kind of surpass them, some of them don't like it. But anyways, then we meet Winter, the gorgeous Winter, who is gotta have her head shaved off. Normally you see somebody with their head shaved off and you talking about this little side over here. But no, Winter done went right down the middle and shaved all this thing out and then attached like a little weave or a wig or something over here on this side. She was very, very cute. But of course, I like Erana and Ashley was like, okay, something is amiss in her personal life for her to have done that. Okay. And of course, she quickly reveals that her ex-husband, who was a footballer, a pro footballer, cheated on her. And I guess he had like a gazillion babies on the side and all this nonsense. And so then now she's got with this new second husband, Kevin, who is considerably older than her because she mentioned that he was over 60. And Kevin seems a little scammy, but we'll come back to that too later. Anyways, so all these women seem pretty fabulous in their own right. They're all gorgeous. I love seeing Black women who just look like they got it all together. They're all fabulous and fly and all of that. So then we get to see Erana at home, and she talks about her son, little Jamie, and we learn how little Jamie and big Jamie are at odds for whatever reason. But she's inviting him to their anniversary party. And then she goes out car shopping with him. And it was funny to me how she was like, I'm not paying for nothing. Like, let's be clear. You on your own with this one. But then we learned that he's maybe doing some things that are not so kosher. And that's why he and his father are at odds. And she starts to cry, telling him how she's so worried about him every time he leaves the house. I don't know about y'all, but I don't know how much I was buying what was happening in that scene. Like, her crying was a little Amber Heardish for me. Oh, y'all gonna come at me. I'm sorry. But yeah, I get the feeling that he probably is in some mess. And that's probably a very real problem for them. But I felt like in the scene, she was playing it up for storyline. And I might be wrong, but I really, really want to know if I'm the only one who felt that way. Like, it for real felt like it didn't seem real genuine or whatever. Anyway, so moving on, then we see Ashley, and she's at home with her family. She introduces us to her kids. She introduces her dog as her child, and then proceeds to tell us how her dog is her favorite child. And I'll leave that alone because I didn't get it. But anyways, I liked that when she and her husband, and this is why I was saying I feel like maybe we're going to see more healthy Black marriages than what we normally get to see. So she's talking to her husband, and he's asking her about her professional ventures. And she mentions that she hasn't had time to write her book because she's constantly working with the kids and then doing other work as well. And he responded, he meant no harm, but he responded saying how he wished he could just be home all day and smoke a cigar and so on and so forth. And I loved how she corrected him that because I'm home with the kids isn't the equivalent of you being home chilling and smoking a cigar. You know, like she made sure that he was aware that me being at home with the kids is actually work. Like I'm not just chilling and relaxing, putting my feet up. And I felt like she did it in a very, very respectful way. She wasn't snappy all any of that kind of stuff, which I see that she will do with the girls, but not with her husband. And I love seeing a woman who has respect for her husband. I really, really like that. And I don't know if anybody else really picked up on it, but I thought that was a really cool moment. I would love to see more interactions like that between couples on TV. So anyway, so later at the anniversary party, Winter is there, and she's telling Monique and Chris about Kevin. And so basically she said, like, right before they celebrated their 1-year anniversary, so honey, they barely even jumped over the broom, she gets a message that his company is being sued for millions of dollars, and that he is specifically being accused of having taken money from the company. And the way she made it sound was that she tried to question him about it, and he didn't want to talk about it. So he went off and left and went to his mama's house, where apparently he was living when she met him. Honey, no. So anyways, she wants to kind of like, it seemed like she wanted to kind of just graze over this whole situation. But where did you find him? Like where did you find him? And now you want to like make fun of the fact that he went back to live at home with his parents, but that's where you got him from. So why hadn't you done any real investigating or anything like that? I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the end of the episode because this part was a trip to me. So we learn when she's at dinner I'm skipping to the end of the second episode. Y'all gonna have to bear with me because I told you I was catching up. She says that she's a relationship coach and that she had her family question him and all this BS. But you had never actually been to this man's home and you married him? What mess was he saying to you this whole time that convinced you to be in a relationship with him for a while before actually getting married and then marrying him, and you had never actually been to his house? So you trying to drag him and make it sound like he pathetic and pitiful because he was living in his mama's basement. But honey, you didn't do your due diligence and you got duped. That does not make you look better than him. That does not make you look bright or anything like that. And I did not like that Ashley brought it up and was like, you a relationship coach? I thought that was kind of tacky, but she was right. She was right. Like, this is scammy vibes all over it. Anyways, so Chris decides that he wants to go and meet with Kevin. He's like, Kevin has been cool. You know, Chris is trying to mix it up and do what the ladies do and get to the bottom of the situation. So he goes out with Kevin. And while he's out with Kevin, Kevin is feeding him all the BS. Kevin is telling him, oh, how much I love my wife, so on and so forth. Let me see, because I wrote some notes about that mess. He said he was accused of taking money to take his kids ice skating, and that he got the news when he and his wife were returning from Tulum. Like, what? He's like, I never took my kids ice skating. That is not a defense. Your company is accusing you of taking money, and what you say is, I never took my kids ice skating in my life. First of all, how much does it cost to take kids ice skating? Because I think that they would be accusing you of stealing more than ice skating money. Like, this is not making sense at all. that was some BS. And maybe you didn't take your kids to ice skating. Maybe you stole the money and took your wife to Tulum. I don't know. I'm not feeling this at all. And I really need answers as to why he's living in his parents' basement. I mean, are you caring for your parents? Like, what is happening there? And if you are there because you're caring for your parents, then when you married Winter, why weren't your parents brought along, or why didn't you and Winter move into their house together? So I have a feeling it's not that you're caring for your parents. It sounds to me like Winter was an opportunity to get away from whatever you were into or to level up, and it didn't work out. Anyways, that's not one of the healthy marriages I was talking about. Okay. So we see a scene where Monique and Chris are talking, and they're talking about him and his life coach. And she wants him to make a list as an exercise, basically, for self-improvement and for improvement of their relationship. And Chris is very quickly very sensitive to her asking about this list. And he says, he basically tells her it'll be worth the wait. And she laughs. And I think she laughed innocently, assuming he was kind of joking. But he became very sensitive. And he was like, I'm telling you that I'm worth the wait. He was offended by her laughing. She didn't really seem to pick up on it. But I liked that they were able to kind of talk it through. Even though it seemed like for a minute, neither of them was really listening to the other. They did actually get to a point where they did. And you could tell that they really care about each other's feelings. So they care about their own feelings individually. And so they want to get their thoughts out. They want to be heard. They want their opinions and their feelings to be appreciated. But they do, in turn, ultimately seem to really, really care about one another. And they don't want to do each other harm. And I feel like a lot of marriages are in trouble often because one or both parties cares more about their own feelings and not so much about the other person's feelings, or they care more about winning an argument than actually protecting the feelings of their spouse. And I feel like that's where Chris and Monique can win, is that even though they may disagree, they may run into some trouble, ultimately it seems that they both actually do not want to do each other harm. So I think that that's healthy, and I hope that they continue to grow on it. Later, Monique is sitting and she's talking with Ashley, and this part like hit home for me because she talked about how he is a good man. He is. He does all these wonderful things, and the world sees him as a great man. So it almost puts you as the wife in a position to where people would feel like you have no right to complain. It's kind of like me complaining about putting premium gas in my Benz. And most people will be like, well, that's first world problems. Yeah, it's first world problems, but it still hurts. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. There's often times where things may be very, very good, but you can still have a complaint. And I think that that's legitimate. I find myself in a similar situation sometimes. My husband is amazing. But there are days when I wanna, but that doesn't mean that he's not amazing. And just because he is amazing doesn't mean that I can't sometimes have a complaint. So I understood where they were coming from with that. I understand Ashley's desire to build something on her own and not be in her husband's shadow. I understand Monique wanting to expand herself and reach goals and feeling like Chris has had his time to shine. He's had opportunity to build and all of that. So step up, step in, and help me out. So, yep, these husbands might be amazing, but these ladies have a valid reason to maybe not always be 100% satisfied. Anyways, y'all probably thinking like, this ungrateful helpful. I swear I'm not being ungrateful. I'm just saying that the feelings can be legit. At that same conversation, they talk about not using birth control and using the pull-out method. That part I didn't understand. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I never have another child. What did Ashley say? She said she believes in taking chances. Y'all can have that. No, I am not the one for that. So we learned that Ashley's husband is now getting ready to embark upon CIAA, where he's going to have 15 different events that he's responsible for, which means he is going to be dog tired. And when he tells her, she's upset, but she is so respectful to her husband. That makes me so happy. Like, we don't often see it, and people like to act like Black women are so difficult to deal with. No, a lot of us know how to behave and know how to appreciate our husband. And the best thing to me about that conversation was after she told him how she felt about it, which he already knew how she felt, he said, I appreciate you. And she needed to hear that. And she said that. She was like, well, I'm glad to hear that. And then she reminded him that she appreciates him as well. So she didn't get the nasty, snappy, moving the neck and all of that kind of stuff. She's like, well, you already know how I feel. She told him that she's going to be the one that has to pick up the pieces and all of that sort of thing. She's letting him know how it affects her. And she's doing it in a kind and respectful way. The only thing that I would have done differently if I were her, for the sake of her husband and his health, I would have made him commit to time off afterwards. Yep. I know CIAA is a huge opportunity for you. I know it's something you feel like you got to do, but you're going to have to give me this following weekend or the next month or something. I need you to take some time off and recuperate. I need you to take some time and be with the family. You know, I need you to not completely burn yourself out, because he can do it. He young enough. He could do a weekend of work. But you need to take some time off and recuperate after that. And that's not just for me. That's for his health as well and his longevity, so he can be here to help me take care of these kids in the future. Anyway, and I really enjoyed her and his chemistry when they talked about the cucumber. And she's like, you want me to take my cucumber out of my mouth so I can go do a shrimp? And he was like, you ain't got to worry about no shrimp over here. I enjoyed their chemistry. They are friends. They are friends within their marriage. Even when he sat down in the confessional when they were getting ready to go into the party, and he said, you know, I look good. My wife look even better. I love it. I love when couples celebrate each other. I pray that their relationship stays good and strong and healthy like it appears to be right now. So anyways, I'm bouncing all over the place. But then you have Erana and Jamie had their anniversary dinner. It was good that their son, little Jamie, actually did come. He had a conversation with his dad where he apologized. He talked about his marijuana smoking and how it was taking over his life. He talked about being around the wrong type of people. His dad wanted to just show him tough love. They hugged it out. That's good. I'm sure we're going to see more about him. We saw some stuff already in the previews for upcoming episodes. But I was glad that they had that moment. He got his daddy's whole face. He got his daddy's whole face. They're very handsome guys. But I like that Erana and Jamie seem like they are partners also and friends. I love this. So far, I love this. And I have a feeling that not many people will, because there may not be as much drama as we're used to. Like, I don't see either of the men on here acting like G from Rohop, Mia's husband. I don't see anybody on here acting like Michael Darby. And I think a lot of times that's what people are looking for. But I actually like this. I actually like this quite a bit. So back to Monique and Chris's party at the end of the episode. Ashley is already like, I don't know if I'm feeling this winter person. Girl, just you ain't gotta feel her. Just be cool. Just be cool. You don't even really have to be feeling her like that. And of course, everything comes up. They talk about Kevin again because Monique is telling Winter how Chris went and met Kevin. She tells us a little bit more about their situation. I think it just all sounds like nonsense. I don't know what this man said to her to pull the wool over her eyes long enough to get a marriage out of her. I hope that she had some sort of prenup or something, because I don't know what he actually had coming into the marriage, but it definitely sounds like he was trying to level up. I hope that this doesn't like financially devastate her in the future. But then we get to a point to where the couples are asking Erana and Jamie for marital advice. And it kind of got messy because it seemed like Monique was asking for tips on working through issues. Ashley was asking, what's y'all issues? That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And you don't need to know all our issues in order to get tips on how to work through issues. But Ashley had, I think, a very, very different agenda than what Monique actually had. And so Erana, I don't know if she was like off her square or she felt like she needed something to prove or why she would answer that. But she went on and just said, well, for me, it was infidelity. And I don't know that that's the kind of conversation I would have in a group without having discussed opening that part of our lives up with my husband first. And Jamie seemed really, really off put by that. He didn't seem like he was ready to be put out there like that. And I'm not saying that you should hide it for him or anything like that, but if we've worked through it and moved past it, I would personally not put him on the spot like that out of respect for my husband and out of respect for our marriage. I thought that was kind of tacky, and maybe she just wasn't quite thinking, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And there was a moment where Monique was talking about this trip to Africa, and he shushed Erana. I didn't really have a problem with it because it was kind of just like, I mean, we've been together for 26 years. My husband and I might shush each other from time to time. Like, like I'm trying to hear this, like, shh, or whatever. I didn't feel like he did it in a nasty, disrespectful way. Winter felt like it was unacceptable. So I'm really curious to know how the rest of you all feel about that shushing moment. But what I will say is later, when Chris and Monique started to have a little bit of a spat, and she apologized for whatever she said. And he said, well, hush. That was disrespectful. That was not okay. That was foul. And I was ready to throw something. Because it's different you shushing like in casual conversation and there's like no bad blood. But you just maybe want to say something or you really wanted to hear something. And you're not like feeling no type of way. But to say hush then like that when you're in a heated argument, it's a whole different vibe. And the intention, I think, is very different. And it's unacceptable. I didn't like that at all. I did not like that at all. And I know that Chris was feeling some type of way because he felt like his wife was making him look bad. I can completely understand that. And I do agree that Monique should not have positioned the story the way she did. She made it sound like the family just flat out left her up there to die. And so he explained himself that normally she tells me not to wake her. And then once she said she was okay to be awakened, he was on it. And she admitted that he was on it. So I feel like when she brought it up, she should have said, I had to tell them to come and, take care of me. But she didn't say that. She just was like, well, they wasn't feeding me. They wasn't. So I get that she wasn't making her husband look good. And we learned, like I said in the first episode, that Chris is sensitive. And it seems like although they've been together for 10 years, it doesn't seem like she's quite picked up on the level of his sensitivity. Like his ego is quickly, it's touched. I'm not going to say it's damaged or bruised or anything like that, but you can tell that his ego is easily affected. And so she should be a little more mindful, in my opinion. She should be a little more mindful about how she approaches things with him. I did notice, too, that during her conversation with Ashley, she was saying, well, I feel like now that we're at 10 years, I'm looking at everything. Like, I'm looking at, like, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? And I'm like, okay, so are you looking for problems? Like, do you have it in your head that we've been married for 10 years, so now I need to find problems? Because I was conflicted by that. Like, is it that you're actually seeing things that bother you? Or do you have an idea in your head of what 10 years should be? And so now you're looking for problems or you're looking for holes to fill. Like I didn't understand why she was saying that to Ashley about now that we're at 10 years, I'm looking at everything this way. Honey, if things are good, then let things be good. I don't know. But once again, even though they did have that little spat at the dinner party, and it was tacky. Like you are never supposed to make your guests feel uncomfortable like that. But they still did, like I say, you see them come back to a place where, look, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. And to be able to apologize to each other in public where you had the spat and embarrassed each other is the right thing to do. So I was glad that they did that. So far, I think at least those three couples seem to actually be in healthy marriages. And that don't mean they're not going to have spats and arguments and embarrass each other and all of that, because all of that is real life. But they seem to be healthy marriages. And I just pray that that will continue. Anyways, I'm so glad to be back. I'm going to try to finish getting caught up on Love and Marriage Huntsville. I started that and ooh, honey, like everybody hate everybody, it seemed like. But anyways, I hope to get back to posting regularly. I hope you all are able to find time to squeeze me in so we can reconnect. But thanks so much for watching. Bye.
I'm so in love with you. You got me down again.